Hey guys, Nathan Masters here with Brick System Brothers, and you guessed it, this is a video about my storage and sorting. So a little bit of context, I did a monthly update, I call it our footnotes episodes, for last month, for May, and I was talking about this area in my Lego building table closet area thing here, and that video did not have this third storage unit. This has since arrived and I have started filling it. So just wanted to talk briefly about kind of my approach and also a solution that I've recently found for subdivision within these bins. So I guess I'll start off by saying these are Akro-mils. It's just a brand of storage bin. I've seen really similar designs with other branding, so there might be some subcontractor that actually makes these parts, and then they just get sent off and branded wherever. But it's pretty simple design. It's a drawer unit, which I prefer. It's 4 drawers across and then 6 down, so there's 24 drawers in each unit, and I've got 3 here now, so looking at close to 75, 72 some drawers, and then a couple extra from home. And they fill up fast, but it's a really good size for kind of an intermediate collection. As you start getting to really big collection, you know, like 1,000,000 pieces, then you have to start looking at dividing by part type and color. But I'm at about the 150,000 piece stage, so I still have a lot of stuff sorted by part only. And this isn't necessarily, like, this bin represents most of my 1x2s with the groove, but not all of them, because I don't have all of them sorted. So this method is even getting a little bit tight for me, but it has lasted a long time, and I think it's a good place, especially if you're just starting to sort your collection with starting at a larger collection of like 10,000 plus pieces. It's a good place to start. So this is the new bin here. Like I said, this was intended for those brackets and direction changing pieces, so that's mostly what I've got put in here. And I like to put some kind of order into my sorting and storage when I can. So start up here on the left, kind of intuitively start with a smaller size, so a 1x1, and these are all headlight bricks, so they have that recession on there with the stud. The next kind of intuitive size up would be the other 1x1 style pieces, but these have just that flat surface, so it's a full width brick. And then there's actually 3 other types of 1x1. So the far one over here is the 4 stud. I've heard it called the Travis brick before. This one has the studs on opposite sides, and then recently, like 2015 or so, there's also the corner. Just look at that a little closer. The corner one is pretty handy for certain applications where you need to really reach in and around. So a pretty good stash of each of those sizes, but disproportionately more of these 1x1 with a single stud. And so this is what I ended up doing was the Akro-mils, these bins come with this divider in the back that you just punch out. And so I got that out of there and put it in, and that works pretty good. So now I have 2 halves of equal size. So it's just about perfect size of volume for these 1x1, but these 3 here I have significantly less of, enough to warrant even further subdivision rather than just trying to put a single type in the other side. It'd be really unbalanced. And so these other little compartment kind of cups, I would call them, are what I ended up using. Yeah, so these little cups come out of these containers. And the brand on here is Tool Shop, so this is a different kind of storage tray, and this just has the latches on the side that open up, and then it has all these little compartments, and they're removable. You can rearrange them and move them around. They're designed for this specific container, but I found that the size actually works perfectly to just stack in. You could go 3 deep here, and it's a combination of the height and the width. So it's got to be narrow enough to fit in between a half subdivision, and low enough so that when you close this little drawer it doesn't hit. So I was actually pretty excited to find this, because now what I can do is previously all I had was the divider to split them in half. But now, if I need to, I can actually just fill it up with these compartments, and there's a double unit here. And this one I can save a divider because I don't need it. I can just put them in side by side and really even further customize each drawer for the specific part need. So down here, all the way at the bottom, almost all the way at the bottom of the bracket bin, is kind of some miscellaneous ones. That's like the piece of resistance style. This is a 2, so like a double stack one of those. I don't have very many of these, but I want to have enough flexibility in my storage to account for the ones that I will start picking up at some point. And so having 2 different options for these compartments, and then multiple ways to kind of arrange those within each bin that needs it. So really similar layout for this one. But yeah, back to our organization side of things. If these are both 1x1s, then the next one's going to be 2s. So 2 different kinds of 1x2s with studs. This one is full of 1x4s with studs. Time to sell some of those. This is the one we just looked at where it's kind of, you know, here's some taller ones, here's some shorter ones, but they're wider, so 2x2 footprint. So kind of a mismatch there. And then at the very base is our really wide vehicle style with a couple different ones in there. So the order here being the footprint is going from smallest to largest, and these are all pretty much within a specific type of piece where we're changing our direction by 90 degrees, and it's mostly on the same plane. The next row over has a really similar deal where we're looking at footprint again, going small to large, but this time the piece type is bracket. So let's look at some brackets. Start with our smallest available brackets. Now for a while, this was about the smallest you could get with a bracket. A 1x2, and then that goes to another 1x2. And even this one is pretty recent, within the last couple years. Now we actually have, you can go even smaller than that if you want. Here's that little beggie that didn't have a home, and you can see in here we have 1x1 brackets now. These are really handy for detail work, and it also worked out that I have this compartment now to kind of keep. There's even a mix of pieces in here because I just have so few. And then maybe a strange size in the back, that fits fine. And I have that in the back because I'm not really going to need to get to that very often. So that's a good fit for those. The next one down is going to be our 1x2 to 1x4 bracket. Those are really popular. Then you look at 1x2 to 2x2. So these are the guys that have been around forever, just your standard direction change. Now when you use these, you end up with this half plate offset. So you have to account for that in your building. And that's why these are kind of separate next to each other, is because this one doesn't give you that offset, but you don't have as much to work with in terms of a building surface. So 2x2. Another recent piece is it's a really similar bracket, but it builds up from the base, so it starts with anti-studs on the bottom instead of on the top. And here's our next size up, just a 2x4 building surface. Then you start getting into the thicker brackets, almost a chair style here. So kind of some interesting function pieces. And then at the very bottom are the hinges. So these have kind of a different application, a different range of motion. They get their own bin at the bottom. So 2 rows, 12 total bins of my brackets and direction changing pieces. Studs not on top spells out snot, so you might hear that term flying around. Pun not intended, I guess, but the snot term is pretty popular. So this is kind of the snot bin up here. And I also decided to start filling in the other side. So here's our cheese slopes. The next one up is going to be 1x2, following that size. Now this probably won't be my final solution here, but I've gone from the cheese to the curve slope. And at this point I have just enough to kind of fill up these bins to the point where if I start getting more of these, I'm going to have to change it again. But the sizing is pretty similar, where we have our 1x2 and now these smaller slopes, 1x2 in the other direction. There's kind of the double wide version, the inverted ones, and the 2x2. So that's in the third drawer down on the right. Next up is the 1x3 that are a little bit taller. And then the 1x4, both sizes. I don't have very many of those. And then just to round out the whole thing, I put the really long ones in the bottom. And that's all I've got for this bin so far. There's still a whole row to fill up in the middle there. There's actually a couple empty ones that I had forgotten about in this one as well. This one is very ordered on the left side where I've done the tiles. So 1x2, 1x4, 6, 8, 2x2, 2x4 on the bottom. The 1x3 and various other sizes are in a separate bin. And then when you go back up to the top and start over, it is jumper plates, 1x2, 2x2, and then it goes a little bit different. I have some different click hinges, the 1x2 modified plate here, Indiana Jones minifigures just hanging out in that one, some 2x2 boxes, this kind of piece, minifigure gear and stuff. So not as much coherence in this bin right now. And the other thing with this is I kind of had to pick and choose what I brought with me to my apartment, like I was talking about before. So some of these aren't in their natural home. Back home under the Lego table, there's 2 more of these bins that are a little more ordered, but similar deal. This is probably my favorite, one of my favorite rows in my storage is this second one in on the right. Starts with your 1x2 groove pattern, then we get our 1x2 bumps, and then this one is one of my favorite bins because it has the 1x2 masonry bricks. 1x4 with the bumps, that one's getting a little full as well. Some of our slotted bricks for garage doors, and then our 1x2 grill pieces, and those are really stacking up. And then the bottom is 1x2 rails. So just sorting by part type is a really good way to go with a collection this size, because it's a lot easier to pick out a color all among the same part type than to pick out a part type all among the same color. So my recommendation is if you're sorting from scratch, go ahead and make the investment to start sorting by part type. Even if you throw in some of the same different pieces, you can sort by family. And so this is all a family of rail pieces. I have some that are 2 wide, that are 8 long. Here's another one that's 8 long, but it's only a single rail. And then our smallest rails are 1x2. So this is the rail part family, and it's just getting to the point where I might need to expand that storage. But for a long time, I could put all my rail pieces in here in the bottom drawer just fine. It's a lot easier to find a specific color if you already know where your rail pieces are at. So similar deals going on in the other bins. But yeah, just wanted to talk a little more in depth about this storage. I could talk for hours. I've been actively sorting for several years, and I did start out by color. A lot of people start out with color, and that works fine until you hit a certain part limit, and you end up just digging through bins of Lego pieces trying to find that one piece for so long. And if you have a project that you want to get done and you have the inspiration to work on that, it can get really frustrating to have that. So this definitely will boost your efficiency when you're building. And for me, this is just kind of a personal thing, but I really like the sorting aspect. I think bringing order to things, there's a certain aspect of bringing order back to just a bin of mixed up Lego pieces that's really almost therapeutic. So give that a shot. I recommend it. These Akro-mils bins are getting a little pricey. It's hard to find anything like this under $30 on eBay. For a while I got them at Menards, but Menards discontinued them, so that's kind of sad. Just keep your eyes out. I'm sure a lot of people still have them in their garages and basements, and see if you can buy it off of them or do a trade or something. But the other thing I like about these is it's easy to get everything kind of modularized, so everything kind of within the same system here, and they're somewhat portable. You just have to be careful not to carry them around to where it tilts forward and all these drawers fly out. And there's a stop on these, so that's another thing that's handy, is you can open it up and leave it. There's a stop in there, and it's also easy to just pop it right out. So that's pretty essential for me to be able to pop drawers out, and it's also pretty essential to have this clear plastic so that I can have just this instant visual on which drawer I'm looking for here. So yeah, that's I guess that's all I have to say for this video. Could definitely go longer about it, and probably will in the future, but that's it for now. See you guys.